This is the Erl-King by Angela Carter, The Bloody Chamber. The Erl-King. The lucidity, the clarity of the light that afternoon was sufficient to itself. Perfect transparency must be impenetrable. These vertical bars of a brass-colored distillation of light, coming down from sulphur-yellow interstices, in a sky hunkered with grey clouds that bulged with more rain. It struck the wood with nicotine-stained fingers, the leaves glittered. A cold day of late October, when the withered blackberries dangled like their own dour spooks on the discoloured brambles. There were crisp husks of beech mast, and cast acorn cups underfoot in the russet slime of dead bracken, where the rains of the equinox had so soaked the earth that the cold oozed up through the soles of the shoes. Lancinating cold of the approach of winter that grips hold of your belly and squeezes it tight. Now the stark elders have an anorexic look. There is not much in the autumn wood to make you smile, but it is not yet, not quite yet, the saddest time of the year. Only there is a haunting sense of the imminent cessation of being. The year, in turning, turns in on itself. Introspective weather, a sick-room hush. The woods enclose. You step between the first trees, and then you are no longer in the open air. The wood swallows you up. There is no way through the wood any more. This wood has reverted to its original privacy. Once you are inside it, you must stay there until it lets you out again, for there is no clue to guide you through its perfect safety. Grass grew over the tracks years ago, and now the rabbits and the foxes make their own runs in the subtle labyrinth, and nobody comes. The trees stir with a noise like taffeta skirts of women who have lost themselves in the woods and hunt round hopelessly for the way out. Tumbling crows play tig in the branches of the elms they clotted with their nests, now and then raucously cawing. A little stream with soft margins of marsh runs through the wood, but it has grown sullen with the time of the year. The silent blackish water thickens now to ice. All will fall still, all lapse. A young girl would go into the wood as trustingly as Red Riding Hood to her granny's house, but this light admits of no ambiguities, and here she will be trapped in her own illusion, because everything in the wood is exactly as it seems. The woods enclose and then enclose again, like a system of Chinese boxes opening one into another. The intimate perspectives of the wood changed endlessly around the interloper, the imaginary traveller walking towards an invented distance that perpetually receded before me. It is easy to lose yourself in these woods. The two notes of the song of a bird rose on the still air, as if my girlish and delicious loneliness had been made into a sound. There was a little tangled mist in the thickets, mimicking the tufts of old man's beard that flossed the lower branches of the trees and bushes. Heavy bunches of red berries as ripe and delicious as goblin or enchanted fruit hung on the hawthorns, but the old grass withers, retreats. One by one the ferns have curled up their 100 eyes and curled back into the earth. The trees threaded a cat's cradle of half-stripped branches over me, so that I felt I was in a house of nets, and though the cold wind was always heralds your presence, had I but known it then, blew gentle around me. I thought that nobody was in the wood but me. Erl-King will do you grievous harm. Piercingly now there came again the call of the bird, as desolate as if it came from the throat of the last bird left alive. That call, with all the melancholy of the failing year in it, went directly to my heart. I walked through the wood until all its perspectives converged upon a darkening clearing. As soon as I saw them, I knew at once that all its occupants had been waiting for me from the moment I first stepped into the wood, with the endless patience of wild things who have all the time in the world. It was a garden where all the flowers were birds and beasts, ash-soft doves, diminutive wrens, freckled thrushes, robins in their tawny bibs, huge helmeted crows that shone like patent leather, a blackbird with a yellow bill, voles, shrews, fieldfares, little brown bunnies with their ears laid together along their backs like spoons, crouching at his feet. A lean, tall, reddish hare, up on its hind legs, nose a twitch. The rusty fox, its muzzle sharpened to a point, laid its head upon his knee. On the trunk of a scarlet rowan a squirrel clung to watch him. A cock pheasant delicately stretched his shimmering neck from a brake of thorn to peer at him. There was a goat of uncanny whiteness, gleaming like a goat of snow, who turned her mild eyes towards me and bleated softly so that he knew I had arrived. He smiles. He lays down his pipe, his elder bird call. He lays upon me his irrevocable hand. His eyes are quite green, as if from too much looking at the wood. There are some eyes can eat you. The Erl-King lives by himself, all alone in the heart of the wood, in a house which has only one room. His house is made of sticks and stones, and has grown a pelt of yellow lichen. Grass and weeds grow in the mossy roof. He chops fallen branches for his fire, and draws his water from the stream in a tin pail. What does he eat? Why, the bounty of the woodland, stewed nettles, savoury messes of chickweed sprinkled with nutmeg. He cooks the foliage of shepherd's purse as if it were cabbage. He knows which of the frilled, blotched, rotted fungi are fit to eat. He understands their eldritch ways, how they spring up overnight in lightless places and thrive on dead things. Even the homely wood blewits, that you cook like tripe with milk and onions and the egg yolk yellow chanterelle, with its fan vaulting and faint scent of apricots, all spring up overnight like bubbles of earth unsustained by nature, existing in a void. And I could believe that it has been the same with him. He came alive from the desire of the woods. He goes out in the morning to gather his unnatural treasures. He handles them as delicately as he does pigeons' eggs. He lays them in one of the baskets he weaves from osiers. He makes salads of the dandelion that he calls rude names, bum pipes or piss the beds, and flavors them with a few leaves of wild strawberry. But he will not touch the brambles. He says the devil spits on them at Michaelmas. His nanny goat, the colour of whey, gives him her abundant milk, and he can make soft cheese that has a unique, rank, amniotic taste. Sometimes he traps a rabbit in a snare of string and makes a soup or stew, seasoned with wild garlic. He knows all about the wood and the creatures in it. He told me about the grass snakes, how the old ones open their mouths wide when they smell danger, and the thin little ones disappear down the old ones' throats until the fright is over, and out they come again to run around as usual. He told me how the wise toad who squats among the kingcups by the stream in summer, has a very precious jewel in his head." He said the owl was a baker's daughter. Then he smiled at me. He showed me how to thread mats from reeds and weave osier twigs into baskets, and into the little cages in which he keeps his singing birds.